Want to speak real English from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at EnglishClass101.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Memorial Day in the United States dates back to the Civil War. It's one of the two major U.S. holidays specifically associated with fallen soldiers. It was more popular at the beginning of the 20th century than it is today, but it's still an important holiday in the U.S. Memorial Day was not always known by its current name. Can you guess what this holiday was originally named? Hint: the original name has to do with decorations. We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Cemeteries in the U.S. are usually decorated with flags on Memorial Day. Memorial Day is also typically marked by the firing of large guns or multi-gun salutes in veteran cemeteries. The families of fallen soldiers will oftentimes go to the grave of their lost family member to remember them on this day. This holiday is celebrated on the last Monday of May. Memorial Day has expanded in its scope over the years. Originally only for the fallen Union and Confederate soldiers from the Civil War, it became more inclusive of the fallen from other wars over the years. Today, it's more of a day of remembrance of the dead in general, with a focus on military members. Memorial Day parades with plenty of patriotic imagery are very common. Memorial Day is oftentimes the day, or close to the day, when schools let out for the summer in the U.S. This is part of the reason that the holiday is so much associated with summer tourism. Families that visit the graves of fallen soldiers, and those who do not, often have cookouts on this day to celebrate the beginning of the warm summer months and their children's time off from school. Memorial Day and Veterans Day are the two holidays in the United States that are closely tied to military members and those who fell in service. Both holidays have evolved over the years. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Can you guess what Memorial Day was originally named? Memorial Day was originally called Decoration Day. The name and the holiday itself have both changed a great deal over the years, but it still remains an important day for veterans and their families. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have a similar day of remembrance in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. New Year's Day is on January 1st in the US. It's almost universally a day off from work, and in the US, closed stores, gas stations, and other businesses are common sights come January 1st. It's preceded by some of the largest celebrations in the nation, and, weary from being up all night enjoying the parties, Americans tend to take it easy on this day. The song Auld Lang Syne is associated with the New Year celebration in the US. Do you know what this song's title means? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day in the United States are both regarded as holidays, though only New Year's Day is an official one. The holiday kicks off late on New Year's Eve when people go out to celebrate in style. This holiday is marked by fancy parties and plenty of parades and other events. Celebrating the New Year across the time zones that cross the US is a popular tradition with those who like to stay at home. In Times Square in New York, one of the biggest celebrations in the nation is held, and this is typically regarded as the official New Year party for the entire country, though each time zone brings in the New Year with its own celebration. New Year's resolutions are popular in the United States, though oftentimes in a tongue-in-cheek way. Most of the time, people will resolve to give up a bad habit or adopt a healthy new habit over the course of the new year. It's almost accepted as a matter of course that people will not follow through on these resolutions, however, and it fits well with the tradition of American sarcastic humor. New Year's Day isn't celebrated on January 1st on all calendars. According to the Chinese lunar calendar, New Year's is usually in February. Depending on the culture and tradition, it can be celebrated on other dates as well. Popular resolutions include quitting smoking, losing weight, becoming more ambitious with goals, and getting a better job. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know what the song title Auld Lang Syne means? Auld Lang Syne means the good old days, or days gone by, depending on the translation. The song is a very old tradition, dating back hundreds of years. The New Year's Day celebrations in the US can easily extend from before midnight on January 1st to well into the afternoon. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? How is New Year's Day celebrated in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is held on the third Monday in January every year in the United States. This holiday is dedicated to the slain civil rights leader who advocated nonviolent action as a way to reform discriminatory laws in the United States. Martin Luther King Jr. Day was not accepted by all 50 states right away. It was signed into law in 1983. Do you know when all 50 states adopted it? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is a federally recognized holiday, but there are celebrations in some cities and not in others. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is tied to the civil rights struggles of the 20th century and beyond. It's very much associated with the struggles of the African American community in particular, but it's also celebrated by most people in the US as a unifying holiday. Celebrating Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy is a complex endeavor. For most people, what he fought for and how he fought for it are equally important. King advocated for the rights of African Americans and other groups who were discriminated against via racist laws. He also advocated nonviolence, and the images of riot police beating unarmed, nonviolent civil rights protesters in the 1960s are largely credited with swaying public opinion. Teaching African American history is a major component of many Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebrations. In fact, many of these celebrations and events try to inform people about other civil rights leaders who were instrumental in reforming exclusionary laws in the U.S. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is also celebrated in Hiroshima, Japan, where it is nearly as significant as it is in the U.S. The city of Toronto in Canada also holds festivities in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know when all 50 states adopted Martin Luther King Jr. Day? Martin Luther King Jr. Day was not officially recognized by every state until 2000. Though President Reagan signed it into law in 1983, many states resisted the holiday or tried to term it something else, such as Human Rights Day in Utah. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Are there any holidays that celebrate a famous historical figure in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Since 1919, November 11th has been a national holiday in the United States. Originally called Armistice Day, Veterans Day commemorates the men and women who served in America's armed forces. This holiday is marked by parades, educational events, and gatherings at memorials to fallen soldiers. There is a specific time of day associated with this November 11th holiday as well. Can you guess what it is? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The holiday was originally specific to the ending of World War I, but it became Veterans Day in 1954. The end of World War I marked the end of the first global conflict in which the United States had been involved. It also marked the end of one of its bloodiest wars, and, to ensure that people didn't forget, Armistice Day was signed into law in 1919. Veterans Day parades are popular events on November 11th. Today, there are no surviving combat veterans from the First World War, which it was originally designed to commemorate. You'll find veterans of all wars, as well as peacetime veterans, marching in Veterans Day parades in the United States. People who served in the United States Marine Corps also celebrate the birthday of their branch of service on November 11th. The United States Marine Corps was established on November 10, 1775, but the events are close enough to make Veterans Day an important celebration for members of the Marine Corps as well. Most members of the Marine Corps get some time off to enjoy this holiday. Veterans Day was briefly moved to October in 1971. The move did not last long, and by 1978, the holiday had been moved back to its original November 11th date. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know the specific time of day associated with this November 11th holiday? During Veterans Day celebrations, the most important time of day is 11 o'clock a.m. The armistice that brought World War I to a halt was signed on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Germany's agreement to this ceasefire brought an end to a war whose repercussions would be felt well into the next generation. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have a similar day in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. On the third Monday of February every year, The United States pays tribute to its first president, George Washington. Washington's birthday is a federal holiday, and federal government workers get the day off. It's not as widely celebrated as some other national holidays, however. Sometimes the holiday is referred to as President's Day. There's a rather odd tradition associated with Washington's birthday and President's Day. Try to guess what it is. We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Washington's birthday is not among the US holidays that are associated with large-scale celebrations. There are celebrations in some cities, but compared to other major holidays in the United States, this one is rather reserved in nature. Washington's birthday is often part of the combined President's Day celebration. Most of the time, President's Day emphasizes the two people who are generally considered to be the greatest presidents of the United States, George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Washington's birthday is culturally significant to the United States because of General Washington's revered place in history. He was the first American president, and beyond that, he was handed a unanimous electoral college victory to win that office. He is also the most celebrated general in the Revolutionary Army that defeated the British. The biggest celebrations of his holiday are held at the George Washington Birthplace National Monument in Virginia and at Mount Vernon. George Washington designed the first medal intended for the average soldier. The Purple Heart, one of the most respected U.S. service medals in existence, is given to soldiers who were injured in battle, and it was designed by Washington himself. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Believe it or not, sales are a tremendous part of the traditional Washington's birthday and President's Day celebrations. Furniture stores and car dealerships are particularly notable for holding sales on this day. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you celebrate the birthdays of important leaders in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. April Fool's Day is one of the most beloved and some would say pointless holidays in the United States. In fact, its lighthearted nature is part of what makes it so popular. There is a popular misconception regarding the origin of April Fool's Day. Do you know what it is? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The events associated with April Fool's Day are not officially organized and are often not observed intentionally. This is a holiday when just about everybody gets a prank or two played on them in the United States. Americans generally celebrate April Fool's Day by looking for any opportunity they can to play a prank on their friends. In fact, this is really the only point of the entire holiday. April Fool's Day is not marked by parades, speeches, or other events. This holiday is all about fun. On April Fool's Day, you'll find people falling victim to pranks that are elaborate and simple alike. A lot of the time, the pranks involve telling somebody something outrageous or false, and if they're gullible enough to believe it, saying April Fools to let them know that they've been had by a prank. Even companies get into the action on April Fool's Day in the United States. For example, Google, the internet search giant, became famous for adding features to its Google Earth and Maps products that were downright ridiculous. If you tried to plot a walking route across an ocean, for example, you might get advice to use a kayak or a jet ski to traverse the natural barrier. April Fool's Day is not just an American holiday. It actually dates back to earlier holidays, including the Roman festival of Hilaria. The idea of having a holiday specifically to play pranks isn't a United States tradition alone. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know what a popular misconception is regarding the origin of April Fool's Day? Contrary to popular belief, April Fool's Day is not rooted in people mistaking April 1st for the beginning of the new year. In fact, there are references to this holiday known to historians that date back as early as the late 1300s. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Does April Fool's Day exist in your country? If so, what are some traditional tricks or jokes for this day? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Daylight saving time begins in the United States in the second week of March. It's not a holiday in the normal sense of the word, but it does mark the beginning of the time of year when the afternoons last longer and when people enjoy more light later in the evening. Daylight saving time is about saving power, but there are other reasons for it as well. Can you guess what some of them might be? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Daylight saving time dates back to the days of World War I. It was originally intended as a way to save energy. The logic behind it was that because people would have more daylight to work with, they would have to burn less fuel to light factories, houses, and so forth. The beginning of daylight saving time is usually a bit more traumatic for people than the ending of daylight saving time in November. Because everybody's clocks are 1 hour ahead, most people end up losing 1 full hour of sleep at night. This means a lot of tardiness at work, a lot of drowsy people on the roads, and other hazards. Daylight saving time was extended by the Energy Policy Act of 2005. This means that daylight saving time always starts on the second Sunday of March and ends on the first Sunday of November. Of course, this does not apply to the many states that do not participate in daylight saving time at all. In northern latitudes, the effects of daylight saving time are more pronounced than they are in southern latitudes. In the northernmost parts of the continental United States, summer twilight can last until as late as 10 o'clock p.m. due to setting the clocks forward in March. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know other reasons for daylight saving time? Another reason that daylight saving time was extended to the first Sunday in November is actually one of the biggest holidays in the US, Halloween. Some members of Congress determined that extending daylight saving time past Halloween would make it more fun for children to go out trick-or-treating due to the extended daylight hours. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you observe daylight saving time in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Tuesday, after the first Monday in November, marks Election Day in the United States. Election Day isn't a national holiday, but people are required to be let off of work for a certain amount of time so that they can participate in the election. When people talk about Election Day, they're usually talking about the federal offices in the United States. The United States has always tried to position Election Day near November. Can you guess why this might be the case? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Election Day in the United States means the end of long periods of campaigning, something which many Americans are grateful to see come about. It also means that polling places have long lines and that people sit by the TV, radio, or computer waiting to hear the results as soon as they're turned in. For most people in the United States, the Tuesday after the first Monday in November is a workday. This has been controversial for many years. Some people have advocated that Election Day be made an official federal holiday so that everybody has the day off to vote at their leisure. The media in the United States covers Election Day like nothing else. In fact, this is one of the most competitive times of the year for media in general. All of the most popular and best-known anchormen and women will be behind a desk with a map of the United States showing where the electoral votes of those states are going as soon as the results are available. The United States does not vote on a popular vote system. The Electoral College determines the winner of a given state, which translates to a certain amount of electoral votes, making some states much more important than others to politicians. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Can you guess why the United States has always tried to position Election Day in November? The November date of Election Day is due to the fact that the US was largely an agrarian society when the first elections were held. By November, most farmers had their produce harvested and could then make a trip, sometimes long, to town to vote. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Is there a special day when elections are held in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Groundhog Day is a fun tradition in the United States. It's not a national holiday, and nobody gets a day off, but everybody waits to see whether the groundhog predicts that spring will come early or late. It takes place on February 2nd. Punxsutawney appeared in a popular movie about Groundhog Day. Can you guess what the movie was called? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Groundhog Day comes at the time of year when winter has dragged on for quite a while and when people are ready for spring. Of course, the groundhog really cannot predict whether spring will come early or late, but when he predicts that spring is on its way soon, people are generally much more chipper. Groundhog Day might not be a national holiday, but it's certainly an important and well-known tradition in the United States. Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, which is as close to the national capital for the holiday as there is, receives approximately 40,000 people every year who come to celebrate the day. Groundhog Day involves a rather simple tradition. When the groundhog looks out of his burrow, his prediction is based upon his choice to either go back into his burrow or to come out. If the weather is cloudy and he doesn't see his shadow, the legend holds that he'll stay out of his burrow, signaling that spring is on its way soon. If he sees his shadow and goes back into his burrow, it means that there are 6 more weeks of winter on the way. Groundhog Day is for kicks and not about being accurate. According to most reputable sources, the accuracy of Punxsutawney Phil or any other groundhog is close enough to and as significant as the accuracy of chance. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know the movie in which Punxsutawney appeared that was about Groundhog Day? Not too surprisingly, the film that featured Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania was called Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray. The film's plot centered around Bill Murray's character living the same day over and over again, which happened to be Groundhog Day. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Had you heard of this holiday before? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. St. Patrick's Day is one of the most popular United States holidays. It combines a celebration of Irish culture with a great excuse to get out, let loose, and have some fun. It has been celebrated since the 18th century, making it one of the most enduring holidays in the United States. It's celebrated in mid-March. The biggest, but not the first, St. Patrick's Day celebrations are held in New York. Do you know where the first one was held? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Irish Americans have contributed much to the United States, and St. Patrick's Day, to a large extent, is about celebrating that. St. Patrick's Day is also about celebrating the culture from which Irish Americans come. It has affiliations with the Catholic Church and is also recognized as one of the biggest nights of the year to go out to the local pubs and taverns. St. Patrick's Day in the United States is a big party. If you want to see a big St. Patrick's Day parade, New York is the place to be. This parade has been held every year since 1762 and is one of the country's most vibrant, vivacious, and largest celebrations. There are parades held across the nation, and most of them date back to the 19th century or earlier. St. Patrick's Day parades are some of the most attended events of the year. Green, the color most associated with Ireland, is a huge part of St. Patrick's Day. Americans typically try to sport something green on St. Patrick's Day to show their support for the Irish American community and their acknowledgement of the importance of the day. One popular American tradition is to pinch anybody who fails to wear green on this holiday. In some cities, rivers and fountains are dyed green temporarily to celebrate this special day for Irish Americans. In 1780, George Washington gave March 17th to his troops as a day to celebrate the Irish fight for independence. He considered this an act of solidarity with the Irish people, of whom made up a large number in his army. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know where the first St. Patrick's Day celebrations were held? The first St. Patrick's Day observance was held in Boston. This was nowhere near as elaborate an event as you'd see in the United States today, but it was important in that it launched a tradition that is now deeply ingrained in American society. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Is St. Patrick's Day celebrated in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Valentine's Day is a very popular holiday in the United States. It's centered on romance and is a heavily commercialized holiday as well. During this time of year, married couples, partners, and sweethearts are encouraged to go out to dinner, spend some romantic time together, and generally acknowledge the importance of one another in each other's lives. This holiday is celebrated on February 14th every year. Valentine's Day is associated with a particular type of love from the High Middle Ages. Do you know what that type of love is called? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Valentine's Day is, among other things, a day when one partner is encouraged to essentially court their partner as they would before they were dating or married. Presenting a wife, lover, or girlfriend or boyfriend with flowers, candy, and other romantic gifts is a huge part of Valentine's Day traditions in the United States. During this particular holiday, the most romantic restaurants in any city will generally be booked solid. Valentine's Day is very important commercially in the United States due to the traditional gifts that sweethearts and married couples give one another. This is particularly true of the floral industry, as giving one special someone red roses on this day is more or less expected. Clothing, jewelry, food, and other items are also popularly given to sweethearts and spouses on this day. For some couples, Valentine's Day is when one member of the couple goes overboard to spoil the other and is delighted to do so. Valentine's Day celebrations can be very innocent in addition to being romantic. In schools in the United States, children are quite frequently encouraged to make and exchange valentines, more as gestures of friendship than anything else. This allows everybody to get in on the fun. In some cases, people in the United States who are currently single will do something special for a friend who means a great deal to them and to whom they want to express affection, even though it's not romantic affection. Valentine's Day cards are among the most impressive pieces of artwork associated with this holiday. Antique Valentine's Day cards can fetch handsome prices from collectors due to their intricacy and their sometimes very imaginative artwork. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know what type of love is associated with Valentine's Day from the High Middle Ages? Valentine's Day has strong associations with what was called courtly love in the High Middle Ages. This was a highly ritualized form of romantic love where each partner was expected to do particular things to express their appreciation for one another. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? What Valentine's Day traditions exist in your country, if any? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Earth Day is a worldwide celebration that started in the United States. In 1970, a U.S. Senator named Gaylord Nelson held what is considered to be the first Earth Day celebration. Today, it's international, but particularly important in the United States. It's all about educating people about and celebrating the importance of the natural environment and working to preserve it. The first Earth Day was tied to a particular environmental disaster. Do you know which one it was? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Earth Day is a holiday that is designed to be educational, but it's a lot of fun as well. When Gaylord Nelson had the first Earth Day, it was based on the idea of an environmental teach-in. That first holiday attracted over 20 million people. Today, the holiday has expanded tremendously. It's estimated that, across the 175 nations that celebrate Earth Day, 500 million people participate in the events. Earth Week is an offshoot of the celebration. Earth Day celebrations typically include both events where people gather in public places, engage in games and other diversions, and community service efforts. Some of the people who go out to celebrate Earth Day attend one of the many parades that are held to commemorate the day. While the first Earth Day celebrations were considered to be rather political, that has faded over time, and today, most people just go out and have fun and learn something about the environment. In the United States, Earth Day is generally celebrated in schools, and teachers use the occasion to give lessons on environmental science, biology, and other relevant topics. Because Earth Day is so rooted in the idea of educating people about the environment, many of the events are educational in and of themselves. Oftentimes, large-scale events are held in parks and other public places that emphasize the importance of keeping green spaces for everybody to use. Earth Day is on April 22nd in part because, for students in college, it would be right between spring break and summer vacation. This makes it easier to reach out to post-secondary students. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know which environmental disaster is tied to the first Earth Day? An oil spill in Santa Barbara, California in 1969 is credited for spurring the first Earth Day. The event was designed to be a grassroots one from the start and continues on in that tradition today. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Earth Day is celebrated around the world. How is it celebrated in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. In the United States, federal income taxes and most state income taxes are due on April 15th. This is not a holiday, of course, but it's a major event nonetheless. Throughout the nation, you'll see people scrambling to get their tax forms in the mail before midnight on April 15th. Technically, federal income taxes are only due on this day if you owe the federal government money. The first income tax in the United States was imposed to pay for a war. Do you know which war it was imposed to pay for? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. In the United States, the beginning of tax season generally starts in February. Tax season is that time of year when people start bringing their taxes into preparers to get them ready to send into the federal government. U.S. citizens have the option of using a tax preparer or an accountant, usually a much more expensive option, to prepare their taxes. There are stiff penalties charged if taxes are underpaid or not paid at all. On April 15th of every year, the United States Post Office stays open until midnight to make sure that people have every possible opportunity to get their taxes in the mail before the deadline. Those individuals who don't owe any tax to the government don't have to make this deadline. In addition to sending in tax forms, payment is due on or before April 15th of every year as well. Every year around tax time, you see the parking lots of tax preparation agencies overflowing with cars. One tradition in the United States relating to tax time is holding sales at various businesses. People who get tax returns oftentimes spend the money on something for themselves, and to capitalize on this, businesses often offer discounts on their items during this time of year. Some tax preparation agencies even allow people to take out a loan of the same amount as their anticipated tax refund. It's a busy time of the year for the IRS and businesses alike. Though it has been controversial, the 16th Amendment to the United States Constitution gives the U.S. government the authority to levy income taxes. It has been contested, but is held up to all challenges. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know for which war the first income tax was imposed? The first income taxes in the United States were imposed during the Civil War. The constitutional amendment that gives the federal government the authority to collect income taxes was actually passed in 1913. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Is there a special day for paying taxes in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Easter Sunday in the United States is among the most important religious holidays in the nation. There are also secular events held around this holiday, and, in some cases, families celebrate traditions other than the Christian one. For Christians, the holiday is centered on the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Churches hold special events during Easter weekend. Besides midnight masses on Christmas, Easter services are some of the most popular in churches in the United States. Do you know when many of them hold these services? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Aside from the religious traditions, which vary from church to church, Easter Sunday in the United States is celebrated in other ways as well. Whether or not they happen to be followers of any church, people in the United States are inclined to have family gatherings on this day, and large feasts are usually served. For some people, Easter Sunday is merely a celebration of spring, while for others it has tremendous religious significance. The most prevalent Easter Sunday tradition involves church services. Some churches hold elaborate parades to celebrate the day, and others have less noticeable celebrations. Most churches at least have social events over the Easter holiday, allowing them to spend time with their fellow churchgoers and to socialize. Picnics and other events are also commonly held during this particular holiday. Secular events held during Easter Sunday include Easter egg hunts and other activities for children. These events are open to everyone and don't have any particular religious overtones to them. Community events are often held as well, simply because the holiday is notable and people tend to want to get together. The Easter Bunny, eggs, flowers, and other symbols are very much associated with spring and are still important traditions for this particular holiday. Because denominations in the United States are so diverse, you'll find many different traditions being celebrated on Easter Sunday. Some traditions involve all-night vigils before the holiday itself. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know when many churches hold Easter services? Services at the break of day are among the most popular church events on Easter Sunday. During these services, Christians come to church in the pre-dawn hours and have their service as the sun rises. For many, these services have a powerful symbolic significance. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? What kind of Easter traditions exist in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Passover is one of the most important Jewish holidays. The holiday is widely celebrated in the United States in areas where there is a large Jewish population. In areas where the Jewish population is not so large, Passover is generally not celebrated. It's not an official holiday anywhere in the United States. A particular type of bread is associated with Passover. Do you know which type of bread this is and why it's associated with the holiday? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. The Passover celebration goes on for up to 8 days. It commemorates the flight of the Israelites from Egypt and one of the 10 plagues that the God of the Israelites released upon the Pharaoh. According to the tradition, the Israelites were commanded to paint their door jambs with the blood of a spring lamb so that they would not be subjected to the death of their firstborn as the Egyptians were. This is where the term Passover comes from. In areas where there is a large Jewish population, many people of other faiths spend time with their Jewish friends during this holiday and learn a bit about the Jewish culture and traditions. Passover is celebrated by secular Jews, though the religious connotations are obviously much less prevalent in these celebrations. Both feasting and fasting are part of this celebration. Community Passover events are scarcely heard of in the United States. This is largely a family holiday with a significant focus on the Jewish religion itself. There are many different rituals related to eating during this time of year and the retelling of the stories behind the celebration of Passover. While it may not be an official holiday, most Americans are well aware of Passover, and people of the Jewish faith are often given time off of work so that they can observe the holiday if need be. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know which type of bread is associated with Passover? Unleavened bread is associated with the Passover holiday. According to the story in Exodus, the Israelites did not have time to wait for the bread to rise before they fled Egypt. Because of that, they ended up traveling with unleavened bread, and it would evolve into a cultural symbol within the Jewish community, as well as an important staple of many people worldwide. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Are there any holidays with religious significance in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Mother's Day is held on the second Sunday in May of every year. It's one of the most important commercial holidays in the nation. The holiday is over 100 years old and was officially declared a federal holiday in 1914. Originally, the holiday was celebrated by hanging a flag to recognize the mothers who had a child who died in war. Today, it has no association with war whatsoever. The first Mother's Day celebrations were associated with a particular movement. Do you know what movement with which it was associated? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Mother's Day is, just as the name implies, a celebration of everything to do with mothers. It's common for people to buy expensive gifts for their mothers, or at the very least, to send them a card showing their appreciation. Mother's Day cards have become among the most commercially successful items associated with the holiday. It's one of the times of year where card companies are just swamped, more so than other occasions. In the United States, children will sometimes really go over the top for their mothers on this holiday. This is particularly true of sons. In families where there is more than one son, it's not uncommon for all of them to compete to get the best gift for their mother. This is truly a day where motherhood is venerated in the United States. While motherhood is the main theme behind Mother's Day, people in the United States only celebrate this holiday for their own mothers. It's rare for people to give Mother's Day gifts to anybody but their own mother. Some families may include the grandmothers in the celebrations, but by and large, this is a holiday celebrated within the nuclear family. The International Mother's Day Shrine is a historic landmark in the United States where the inaugural Mother's Day celebration was held. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know what movement the first Mother's Day celebrations were associated with? Some of the first Mother's Day celebrations were connected to the temperance movement, the movement behind the prohibition laws that went into effect in the early 20th century. Today, however, Mother's Day is completely apolitical. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Is there a day dedicated to mothers in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time. Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Father's Day is a relatively recent holiday in the United States, having come into existence in 1972. It's celebrated on the third Sunday of June every year. Though it's not as commercially important as Mother's Day, it's equally important to many families. Father's Day can be a bit more irreverent than Mother's Day in many regards. Lots of people call home on Father's Day. Guess which type of calls are particularly popular during this holiday? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Father's Day is all about showing fathers appreciation for what they do, for acknowledging the role of fathers in children's lives, and in many cases, simply for making an excuse to hang out with one's dad. The holiday tends to have less of the soft imagery associated with Mother's Day, and, in fact, it does have a reputation as being an occasion that is rather lighthearted. Father's Day gifts tend to be, not surprisingly, manly in nature. It's common for people to buy their dad's power tools, neckties, sporting equipment, and so forth to show appreciation. In fact, getting an ugly necktie on Father's Day is something of a cliched joke among fathers across the nation. It's been poked fun at in commercials and in other venues. Father's Day is not quite as popular as Mother's Day. Researchers attribute this partially to the fact that there are more families with single mothers than there are with single fathers, which may skew the popularity of the holiday. The holiday is consistently popular, however, and many families find an excuse to do something special just for the father and the family on this particular day. For younger children, actually making a Father's Day gift is something of a tradition. Many children are encouraged to make something that they think their father would like, such as artwork or crafts, for example. Other children may opt to help their father out with chores. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know what type of calls are popular on Father's Day? Collect calls are particularly popular on Father's Day, somewhat humorously. While fewer people tend to call home on Father's Day than they do on Mother's Day, many of them choose to call collect. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Is there a day dedicated to fathers in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Hanukkah is the most popular Jewish holiday in the United States. It falls on a date determined by the Jewish calendar, but is often very close to Christmas, making for a natural association between the two holidays. It's also called the Festival of Lights, and commemorates the rededication of the temple by the Maccabees in the 2nd century BC. A particular toy is associated with Hanukkah. Do you know which one? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Hanukkah is one of the most important Jewish holidays and is one that most people in the United States are very familiar with. The distinctive menorah, a candelabra that is kindled as part of the celebration, is commonly associated with the holiday by most people, Jewish or otherwise. Gift-giving is also sometimes a part of this holiday. Even though Hanukkah is not as widely celebrated as Christmas in the United States, it's a holiday that most people are cognizant of, and many non-Jewish people who have Jewish friends do participate in it to some extent. The holiday is also sometimes celebrated by secular Jews to keep the holiday season alive for non-religious reasons. The name Festival of Lights comes from the story behind Hanukkah. According to tradition, the lights in the temple were able to keep burning for 8 straight days, despite only having enough oil to keep burning for 1 day. This tradition is remembered today by the lighting of the menorah. This is the Hanukkah tradition with which most non-Jewish people are familiar, and the menorah is widely known in the United States as an emblem of Jewish people. A Hanukkah gelt is a small quantity of money traditionally given at this time of year. Chocolate coins, though they possess no monetary value, have become popular over the years as well. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know which toy is associated with Hanukkah? The dreidel, a particular type of top with which a game is associated, is a traditional activity for children during this time of year. The dreidel is very commonly recognized as a symbol of the Jewish people in the US. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Are there any holidays with religious significance in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time! Hi everyone, I'm Alicia. Kwanzaa is a holiday in the United States that celebrates the heritage of African Americans. The holiday originated in 1966 and is held from December 26th until January 1st. Today, it provides an opportunity for African Americans and other U.S. citizens to learn about each other, as well as a day that serves as a uniquely African American holiday. The first film about Kwanzaa was released in 2009. Do you know the name of that film? We'll show you the answer at the end of this video. Kwanzaa came out of the 1960s in the United States, when racial tensions were particularly high. Many leaders in the African American community wanted to create cultural events and holidays that were specific to African Americans. Kwanzaa comes out of that desire. This holiday has endured over the years and, in fact, has become more popular as the years have gone on. Kwanzaa is very much centered on community. The holiday's name comes from a Swahili term, which refers to both tradition and reason. There are 7 principles associated with Kwanzaa: unity, collective work and responsibility, self-determination, purpose, cooperative economics, creativity, and faith. The holiday was recently commemorated with its own stamp issued by the United States Postal Service. Over the years, Kwanzaa has become an ideal occasion for people to learn about African American heritage and culture. Art, literature, music, and dance are all celebrated at this time of year and shared with friends and family, as well as with people outside of the African American community. While it may have come out of a divisive time, Kwanzaa has become a very unifying holiday and one that's widely acknowledged and celebrated. Kwanzaa has a 7-candle candelabra that's lit over the course of the holiday. This is a tradition similar to other holiday celebrations during the darkest time of year when lights are very important symbols. And now, here's the answer to the quiz. Do you know the name of the first film about Kwanzaa that was released in 2009? The Black Candle was the first American film about the Kwanzaa celebration. It has been featured in other films, however, but not as a central element. Most people in the United States are familiar with Kwanzaa, and whether or not they celebrate it, they generally do know when it's held. How was this lesson? Did you learn something interesting? Do you have any similar holidays in your country? Please leave a comment at EnglishClass101.com. Until next time!